Welcome back to DOREEN'S African Experiences. So, tomorrow, keep a lookout. I'll be uploading a construction video. I know most of you have been wondering, why am I not uploading construction content as much as I used to? I told you yesterday it's because of people's ugly characters, you know? When you feel unappreciated, unvalued, you don't have a lot of morale to do certain things, especially things in line, things that are in line with entire concept of value. You don't feel valuated, is it? You don't feel valued. English. All right, so we are back to my stories. I'll be telling you quite a number of stories, and please don't use my stories to write books because I've written a book already. I've just not. There is more to me. There is a lot of stories about my past, and I actually strongly believe that I've fully healed. It has taken me over 10 years to work on myself. I believe I've fully healed. I'm in a very good place on most of my past, so I don't feel anything anymore when I talk about them. Hi, Matthew. Is it good morning? It's good evening in my country. So I'm going to tell you stories one by one, but mostly I'll tell you stories that turned bad for me, or those times when you did good things and you were repaid with very bad things, or when something bad tragically happened unexpectedly or expectedly. Those are the stories I'll be telling you. This is why I don't do any work. All right. So today our first story is going to be about somebody, a lady that was once a neighbor of mine. Where do I start? So a couple of years ago, I was staying in a situation that was not so nice. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't ideal. This also goes to show you that with time, things change and life gets better. You just have to keep doing what you're doing. Don't stop. Things get better. It takes time. You need to be patient with yourself. So when I was staying in this situation, I wasn't broke. No. I had money coming in. I had a couple of businesses running. But I had this one neighbor. I considered her my friend. She owned a mobile money business. So every transaction that I did it from her place. I wasn't doing small money transactions. I was doing heavy money transactions, whereby me as a client alone was enough to get her very good commission. In fact, if she got me alone as a client, she would have closed the month with very decent money, because this mobile money people paid on commission, you know that. So I made transactions, I think, on a daily basis, except maybe once or twice a week. When I had later, when I changed my mobile money person and I wasn't using this one so much. Nonetheless, let's proceed. So this girl, this lady, she was my friend. At least I thought so. I used to do so much, because that's the problem with me. The moment you're my friend, when I'm making plans, I involve you. When I'm buying, especially if I see you all the time, when I'm buying even the smallest of things, I always buy for two, or depending on the number that's there. And if I don't buy for you as well, I make sure I come and we share, because I believe in that. So imagine all this time, and then later she tells me, she came to me and she told me how she was pregnant. So she didn't come from the city. She came from outside the city, but she had come to Kampala to make money. You know, people who go to cities to work and they actually live there. Now, when I was staying with her, or she was my neighbor, so we pretty much shared a lot. When she told me she was pregnant, I was so excited. I was so excited for her. Keep in mind, she didn't have a kid yet, and neither did I. Both of us had never given birth, at least for on my end. And so her telling me she was pregnant, it was such good news. I remember that was the period of time when I was doing so many charities in hospitals, like labor hospitals and small clinics. I would go to because there are so many incidences in this country where you can go to a clinic or a small hospital and you find a mother giving birth, but she doesn't even have clothes for the baby. There are so many incidences like that. So I would always do it on a weekly basis. And some of these midwives had my number. They would call me if a case like that showed up. So come on, I was already doing it for strangers. Why not for my friend? And it was not like something I did to satisfy any feeling of mine. It was something I enjoyed to do because I actually like kids. So, this. I remember that weekend I went into town and bought her so many clothes, so many baby clothes. I think she was not even 4 months pregnant yet. I bought so many clothes. I remember actually taking a contact of the lady that was selling baby clothes, and because I didn't know the sex of the baby, so I told her the next time she makes a shipment, she lets me know so that I buy more clothes in like 2 months. So when I came back, this girl didn't expect it. She didn't expect me to be buying any shit for her baby, her unborn baby at the time. So 3 months later, she tells me, oh, it's going to be a boy. I was like, oh my God, it's going to be a boy. Yeah. So I call this lady who was selling clothes for babies. I tell her, oh, she's having a baby boy. And she's like, oh, okay. So a month down the road, the lady calls me. Hi, Afremo. So the lady, and she's like, I've stocked up. I pick my coins, I run, I buy more baby clothes. I bring for her. So around that time when I was leaving, I knew her living situation. It wasn't so good. She didn't even have a bed. Okay, this is something I shouldn't say, but she didn't. So I was planning on, because she was pregnant and she was just sleeping on a mattress and stuff like that. So in my head, I'm like, okay, so since I'm about to move, there are some things I don't have to take. Because once upon a time, many years ago, Afre Mohai, the cat is there behind me playing on the boxes. So in my head, I was planning, I'm going to give her everything in my house, except maybe the mattress and my clothes. So I pretty much left or gave her everything. I gave her the bed. I gave her, there was a carpet, you know. I gave her some appliances, but it was okay because this is what I wanted. So I only relocated with probably my mattress, my clothes, and my gas, and my cat at the time. So when I relocated, we were out of touch. She barely called, she barely texted, and it was okay. Because for friendships to survive, you don't have to talk to someone every time. So, but I would always check in, how is the pregnancy? And then next I called her, she had told me she had gone to Masaka. Masaka is another district where she comes from, or where she was coming from. Sadiq, I do not enjoy comments like this, but how are you? Anyway, so fast forward. She calls me, she tells me she has given birth from Masaka. So I'm like, congratulations. But I don't know, I think her situation with her baby daddy was not so good, which was okay. I mean, because she had her family, but I don't know, she never used to say a lot of good things about her family. So I don't know how close that was, but I think she was okay. Now, around the time she gave birth, that is when, thank you, Sadiq Ahmed. Thanks for being on the live. Where are we? Yeah. So basically, around the time she gave birth, actually before she gave birth, I was also pregnant, but I had not told her. I had gotten pregnant. So I was pushing for my second month. I was Ahmed, is it? Akash, I am in Africa, deep, deep, deep in Africa. We barely have television. I don't even own a television. So the only things I know about Palestine are what I see on the internet. But nonetheless, war is bad for everyone. But obviously, there are people who stand to benefit when a war is happening. So, all the best, I guess, and protection from above. Okay? Now, let me go back to my story. What was I? Yeah, by the way, the only war that I'm invested in is about the Congo war because that is very close to me. I've seen too much happening in Congo. That one I can speak about it. So, where was I? Yeah, so I was pushing for the second month of my pregnancy and a lot of shit. I was having a hard fucking time. Akash, I'm very happy in my life. I don't understand what you're trying to drive at. Yes, third world wonder. What's funny is the whole time I was pregnant, but anyway, people don't really script through comments. I remember there is no pregnancy expert I didn't follow on YouTube. So basically, I told her, no, whatever I was going through, I didn't talk to her about. Actually, now that entire situation is going to lead me to another person whose story I'm going to add up. But I think this person might actually be watching right now. But this person has overplayed me. They've done me so dirty for years. And I continuously help or support or protect. But I kind of feel like these people just keep taking us for granted. And somehow I think I'm in an era of my life where I am just letting go of certain friendships, certain relationships. I just don't think they're good for me. And even though I wanted to help, there are some people who just can't be helped. Going forward, back to our story. So this lady, I told her around that time when I had a miscarriage. I was back from the hospital and everything. Life was showing me serious shaggy. Left, right, center. I was having, probably it was the worst period of my life. I'm actually going to tell you about that period of my life. I just don't want the video to be too long. So anyway, I called her. This same person, the lady that I was there for every single time. I called her when I had the miscarriage around that time because I was in the hospital alone. I was stuck. I was scared. I had blown through my money because when I went to the hospital at first, when I was still pregnant, they told me I had malaria. So the doctors started treating malaria because the stage. So when I was being discharged, that was when I actually miscarried. When I was being discharged from the hospital, because I'd actually finished paying all my bills, of which the bills were so heavy. Now they bring me more bills, you know? So I remember when I got discharged from the hospital, I called her because I barely had food. I didn't have food. Some of you don't understand why I do some of these food charities, because I've been in those situations before. And what's funny is that I've been there for people so many times. But I can't believe there was a year I nearly starved to death. There was a year I went days without food. There was a year, and it's not so long ago, there was a year I scavenged in forests for food. So I know what it feels like not to have food. I know the feeling too well. So anyway, I called this girl around that time because now I had gone broke. I'd been double-crossed. I had been betrayed. I'd just had a miscarriage. I was mentally breaking down. I couldn't do anything. I was severely suicidal. Honestly speaking, I was sure I was going to die that year. Anyway, I tell her to loan me. I think I told her to loan me 150,000 shillings at the time. And I was so sure I would pay back because I was about to harvest my sweet potatoes. If you follow back, there was a time I harvested a lot of sweet potatoes, yeah. So my farm was due, almost due. So I tell her to loan me because I didn't have food. The house I was staying in, the guy was so nice. The landlord, the owner of the houses, was so nice. So he had not been demanding me for rent. But obviously, I would always money in different ways. I was running around doing multiple gigs for construction at the time. My channel had not even hit 1,000 subscribers at the time, you know. So, you know what she told me? This is the thing. This girl's response was the thing. It was the thing that had in some kind of chokehold. I told her what had happened to me. I told her the things that I had gone through. And I told her, because I knew for sure she had the money, because she runs a mobile money. And at the time, she had told me herself, I've pulled my money, all of it, I'm holding it. I'm going to go back and work after 1 month or 2 months from the village. This was her response when I told her to loan me, not give me, loan me. I told her, loan me some money because I don't have food, I don't have this, I don't have that, I am dying. Her response was, what can I do for you? The money that I have is for me. Honestly speaking, I have the money, but I can't give it to you. I haven't seen you in such a long time. I can't be sure you will give it back to me. The same person who I left all my belongings to, it had not even, 5 months had not even passed. The same person I supported on a daily basis, the same person I shared meals with on a daily fucking basis. Every time I went to the gym at that time, I always came back with stuff for her. Every time I went somewhere, I remember one time I literally traveled all the way to Mulungu because she was stuck. I went all the way to bail her out. That place is far compared to where we were staying. And on reaching there, she even had an unpaid bill. I covered it. This person could not help me when I barely had anything to eat. Her excuse was, you're far, how will I get my money back? I told her, it's okay. As soon as she went, actually, when I called her, I had gone 2 days without food at that time. I'd gone 2 days without food. Have you ever been in a situation where you are beaten down by life and you don't think you can go any lower? You just accept. That was me. I had accepted what life had dealt me, but I said, I need to hold on to something. I need to find something to hold on, something to keep me afloat, because my life was going. Because if it had not gone, I would have taken it. I would have taken it. I tried so many times. So many times. So sometimes, and that entire time, I was shooting videos. And there was a place that had Wi-Fi, so I would go there and tap on their Wi-Fi and upload my videos from there. And then after that, my phone would be practically off. You don't get it. Some of us, we've dealt with things in life you cannot fathom. Believe me. And back to that story, while I was in the hospital after miscarrying, that friend of mine who I had been, they were like, because I reached out to different people. One of these people, I remember when COVID had just hit, one of my friends at the time had a pregnant wife. The woman gave birth. They were in the hospital and their child got diagnosed with COVID. This guy calls me in the hospital, very stuck, couldn't even afford to take the child to a better hospital, and asked me for, how much was it? About 280. I sent him the money without thinking about it, without hesitating. 1.5 years later, I call him when I had just miscarried. Hospitals in Uganda are not friendly. When you don't have money, they don't work on you. When you miscarry, they have to clean your womb so that nothing remains there, so that you're capable of having kids in the future. And that is supposed to be done immediately, with immediate effect, not later than that day. I needed to pay that bill so that I would get my uterus cleaned out. And I was so stuck, I didn't have money. And I had other bills in the hospital too, because I had cleared the old bills and now I had new bills. I was being admitted, I was too weak, I couldn't stand, I couldn't walk. I called this guy whose wife was in the hospital with a COVID positive child. He told me, I am going to send you the money, but I need it back tomorrow. I was in the hospital. I didn't have any income at the time because the only income I had, my ex had destroyed it. Everything else that I had that I could sell, this man had destroyed. And I said, it's okay, you send it, because I figured maybe I'll call someone. He still didn't send that money. I was not with my ex at the time. This was when this man had started mistreating me. He's partially the reason I even miscarried, because he would beat me when I was pregnant. I was mentally stressed. I was so disconnected. I was sick. My immune system had gone down so hard. I was not with him. This is a guy who showed up. I was in the hospital for a week and he showed up once like this when he heard that my family had finally showed up. He showed up to just confirm that I had miscarried. He never stepped in that hospital until he had just miscarried. And when he came and confirmed I had miscarried, I was laying on a bed that was filled with blood. I was filled with blood. Everything was red. He pretended and lied to my family that he was going to take care of me. They can all go. And for a moment, you know, when you're still in love, you give second, not even second chances, you give 100 chances. Every ounce of positivity looks like hope to you. You believe it. So everyone left. As soon as everybody left, the nigger turned on me in the hospital. There were witnesses in that hospital, women. He was like, I can't stay here. I can't live here. I mean, who stays in a hospital? Can you imagine? He was like, call me the border guy, and he texts me. I could barely stand. I could barely do anything. I was in so much pain. I was just there. I called the border guy and he left. He left me there in the hospital after telling everyone in my life that he was going to take care of me. There are so many reasons why I'm going to say my ex. I feel sorry for him because I know the karma that will hit him. Nigga has been living karma his entire life. I can confidently say I was the only good thing that had ever happened to that man. Confidently. Fucked up. He didn't just fuck up, he wanted to take me with him, you know. I know for sure I don't hear from him. I don't want to hear from him. But a person that brags about having forced someone to abort, like it is a normal thing, and justifies your miscarriage, is someone that you should be scared of. Someone who looks at death as, okay, this was my first pregnancy, and he has no kids. So this would have been his first kid too. He treated my miscarriage like it was cool, like it was normal, like it was nothing. He had to bring up a story of one of his exes that he practically forced to have an abortion as justification for my miscarriage. Imagine someone like that. And he went ahead and created a YouTube channel, creating a narrative, making himself look good. Wow. You know, he'll face more of his karma to come, you know, because he already has a record in the UK, a criminal record. You know, I'm sure if he went back to the UK, it won't be long before he's back in jail. People like that don't change. They just keep doing the same shit over and over again. And the UK system is fucked up, especially if you happen to be too, well, black. He's not too black, but he's black. You know? Honestly, I think I spent about a month or two mourning the loss of my twins because I was pregnant with twins. And it took me close to a year because it is only, I think, up until a month and a half ago that I don't cry about that day. I know, a very big fall. So fucked up. But him, I'm sure, I don't know, he must be, because the tears I cried, the pain I went through, the shit I dealt with, I don't think he has, by now I'm sure he's already living his karma. If not yet, soon. Because there is no better revenge taker than God. And God's punishments are so cruel in that you don't even think you have solutions for them. I don't have no best friends, my dear. I don't want to have best friends. You know, that time of my life was my most trying time. But God didn't abandon me completely. You know, I had moved to a whole new place. People didn't know me there. But people in that area were so kind. They were so, so kind, you know. I need to make time and go back there. And I think because of their kindness is why I keep doing my charities that side. I keep giving back to them because they saved my life. They didn't know anything that I was going through, but they were there for me. Like I didn't even tell anyone what my problems were, what I was going through, why I was there. But these people were so kind to me. I remember one of the ways I was working on my depression and my stress and my loss and my pain was by taking pictures of animals in the wild, birds. I think I even created a whole channel, another YouTube channel on birds. So I would wake up in the morning and just walk into forests and start documenting birds and take pictures of birds. I would feed on mangoes in the wild. If I could find fruits or something, if I found someone had a tree of fruits, I would always ask and they'd be like, take as many as you need. And to this day, I still have that thing stuck in me. I survived on like a wild animal. You know how wild animals would survive in the wild? That's how I survived. I would find a tree with like 5 mangoes and harvest them and eat one every day for 5 days and drink a lot of water. A lot, you know. I never called home. I never called anyone. That's why me. There are very few things that will just tip me. I'm so grounded to a point that it's very hard to hurt me. I've been through a lot of pain. A lot of pain. You know? YouTube is actually the only thing that kept me going. I looked forward to documenting those birds. I looked forward to talking about construction. It was the only highlight of my life. Only. You know? I met so many nice people on YouTube. Yeah, you have to share, but half the time I didn't share my experience when I was going through it. I didn't talk about it. I told no one. I talked to nobody. That's why even my family didn't know what I was going through, you know? But I remember we are born 3 children. None of my sisters showed up. And what's funny is that I've always been there for each one of them when they needed me at most of their pivot moments. None of them showed up. And only one would call to check on me, even after knowing what had happened to me. Now I look at my youngest sister who gave birth. And sometimes I wonder, I said, if I treated these people the same way they've treated me my entire life, where would we be? The only person that would show up would be my mother. My mother looked for me. She would look for me. She would call, where are you? Direct me, you know, and then I would direct her, and then she would come and find me, and then she would check on me, and she would bring me supplies. Actually, it was my mother that gave a fuck about me. That's why when I hear my so-called dead father reaching out, this man doesn't know what I've been through. This man doesn't know how I've come how I've reached where I am. He doesn't know the pain I've endured, the sacrifices I've made. So this is why I'm telling you as parents, when you give birth to children, it doesn't matter how old they are still your children. Don't give up on your children. Don't abandon them, because your children can become more, you know? Yeah, that is my weakness. I always see the best in everyone. I've seen so many people going through shit, and I'm always thinking, how can I be there for them? How can I help them? I'm always, and I know this, my mother knows this, and she has told me several times, you know? I remember before, when I was done with university around that time. I didn't have a stable job yet. I didn't have much going for me. I I went to stay with one of my mom's brothers because I didn't want to stay at home with my mom. I mean, it's so weird being in the same place you grew up. I wanted a change of environment. I remember these people, the children of my uncle. My uncle is a good guy. The children of my uncle making me sleep on the floor. I was a grown-ass person. They would make me sleep on the floor in the living room. And one of them even had two mattresses, but she wouldn't share it. She'd be like, the bed would be too hard for me if I slept on one mattress. You know, life changes. Life changes for everyone, you know, and things changed for all of them. They changed. And what's funny is there came a time later, a year or two later, when I was the only person that could help all of them. But I still helped. I was still there for them, you know? And then when bad things happened to me, when someone messed up my life, nobody was there. And this is what I keep saying. The only people who were there was some people from YouTube. I think I have like 5 people in total from YouTube that have always been there for me. Even when they are away, they've always been there for me, you know. But apart from those 5 people, there is most of you that have been so supportive, you know. Sometimes I would go shoot. I mean, I know the things in my head, you know, but I didn't have the right equipment. Yeah, I've seen a lot of setbacks, so many, you know, and I'm not even, I never get surprised when I have a setback anymore, because I know sometimes I've caused it, you know. I've brought the wrong people near me. I've supported the wrong people. You do good things for people and they turn around to just harm you. You don't get it. I get harmed so much by people. I've gotten betrayed beyond me. There are things I've gone through, and if I told people some of these things, they'd be like, me, I cannot do that. At least I would have done this. At least I would have done this if I was in your situation. And every time I sat down and assessed if I could do what these people are, I still couldn't. There were so many times I was presented with the opportunity to do bad, to harm, intentionally harm people that have done me wrong, but I still failed. Sometimes I think maybe my spirit is weak. I'm just not that strong. And when I do bad things, they haunt me. I just feel like I'm haunted, you know, like I can't do anything. And that's the problem with me. When I haven't done something the way it's supposed to be done, it fucks with my head. You know, I get sick. I can't function properly. It's crazy. It's so crazy. The only one thing that I thank God for is that for every stage of my life, no matter how bad things got, I didn't become a hoe. I didn't become a hoe. I didn't sell my private parts for money. For every single time, because I believe I'm very beautiful. I have an amazing body. I still didn't hoe. You know, I thank God for that. And I think it has a lot to do with the way I was brought up, or the environment I grew up in. You know, and I still send this back to you parents. The environment, or the things you bring in your children's lives, will impact your children when you are not there. Maybe when you've died, or when the children have left home, the things the things that you expose to your children will affect them, either positively or negatively. For you right now, you think it's so cool. You think the shit you do is cool, but one day it will bite you. Because imagine being faced with things like that when I still had men hitting me up, trying to be with me and shit like that. You know, trying all sorts of things, and I still declined. You know what it means to decline an offer that can get you food when you're starving and you're dying? And I would just be like, I would rather die. I think I used that statement a lot last year. But then again, most of you don't listen to what I'm saying. In most of my videos, some of you would say I talk too much, but it was my way of coping. Don't be afraid to love yourself and put you first. You did not create anyone, and no one is more important than you. Yes, I'm learning that. I definitely love myself, but the part where I tend to put other people's needs above mine is the only problem. That's the only problem. But at least I'm getting there. You know, I'm getting there. I have someone I work with. She's called Biba. She always tells me, stop being good. Stop it. She sees certain people suppressing me, mistreating me, taking advantage of me, and she will go and stand up for me. She'll be like, why are you doing this? And what's funny is that I'm the one that stands up for everyone else, but I never stand up for myself. I always just let people be. Because honestly, I've grown up to a point where I cannot handle conflict. I can take you down with a couple words because I don't tolerate nonsense, but I will not accept a conflict. I will let you win, I will let you be. I don't have energy. For some reason, I don't feel like it's even worth it fighting some people or going back and forth with some people. And I tell her that, let them be. This is temporary. Nobody works a job till they die. Nobody, nothing like that. Yeah, most women wouldn't think twice. And I brought that up because I've seen it's too much these days. It's just way too much. It's just too much. The level of hoeing we have in this country, it's like now another certificate, is it? When you certify something, what is that word? It's like a normal way of life now. Girls are hoeing. You know, when we were growing up, we thought prostitutes were only the women that stand by the road. But seriously, we have people who are creating groups, WhatsApp groups, you know. People come on these channels here to intentionally. And what am I talking about? Most of you are living in those first world, second world countries where you've normalized this. You have OnlyFans accounts. You have everyone is a pornography expert, artist of some sort, you know. But that's okay. At least they are consenting. So for me, I'm okay with consenting adults doing things they consent to. You know, it's the problem I have is with these rape, defilements, molestations. That's not right. You know, actually, who still rapes and defiles or molests in this day and age where we have so many women that will do these things for easy, you know, for free or for money or for gifts? You know, look, stop running around molesting people or defiling children. There is women who will act for you. They will do what you want. You just have to, you know, meet their demands. And there are so many now. The world is crazy. Oof, it is crazy. By the way, you're right. Moral decay is indeed global. My God. Ooh, the things we've normalized. People. Hi, baby. What's up? Hi, baby. What's wrong? What's up? Sleeping. It is night time. I think that's enough stories for today. There's so many stories of my life. Oh, they make you wonder. Before I go, there is something new in this country. Why are food service providers giving us food that is not fresh? I don't get it. And honestly speaking, I don't like complaining, because by the time you serve a meal for me, pack it and deliver it, you know what you've served me. You know you are serving food that is almost rotting, but you expect me to call you and complain about something that you knew you were doing, and you still went ahead to do it. I simply excommunicate you and go to somebody else. I don't have energy for this nonsense. Someone, you order for a meal, it is your first meal of the day. Yes, indeed, we learn from each other. And best believe, don't talk about your experiences, especially on the internet when you're not healed. Because there are people who hit below the belt. They'll use that shit against you. Cutting me right now, there is nothing in my past you can tell me, and it hurts me. But what? I didn't have food. But what? I was starving. But what? I didn't have anyone that cared for me. Nah, none of that shit hurts me. I've grown such a thick skin, it's very hard to even grease it. Like, I've learned from my experiences. And I guess that's what they call growing up. Growing up is not age, it is experiences. The more experiences you have, the older you get. The more mature you get, the more wise you get. And every single time you go through your experiences and you don't wise up, that's why we keep saying an old body with a very young mind. You're physically aging, but mentally you're like a child, worse than a child. You've learned nothing. Right now, it is very impossible to double cross me, and I mean by surprise, because now the people that double cross me, I already know. Usually before I let anyone into my life these days, I assess them on so many levels. And even when they get in and I've not fully assessed them, I limit access to me. That's why you never see anyone coming to my house. You never see anyone knowing what I'm doing in that moment. You don't know shit about me. You only know what I tell you. And half the time, by the time I tell you, I'm over it. Salvage. I'm from Uganda. So, learn this. Learn to have your own back. Learn to take care of yourself. Learn to be your own mental, physical, soul, and emotional support. If you feel like you need someone, get a pet. Stop using people as your emotional support. People are just flawed. these questions I only give. You want me to answer questions for you? You buy super thanks, okay? At least buy super thanks on my page. Motivate me. You're just asking me for my age. Let me tell you, have people in your life, but understand what type of people you have in your life and why you have them in your life. We are too old to be making random friends. We are too old to be liked. I don't want anyone to like me. I want you to just appreciate what I offer. You can like me if you want, but you don't have to like me. Whether you like me or not, it's not going to change me. It's not going to change how I think, how I talk, how I dress, how I do anything. I don't impress anymore. I only impress myself. And even then, it's on rare occasions that I want to impress myself because I am happy as I am. I am not seeking validation from anybody. I'm not looking for friends. I'm not looking for parents. I'm not looking for shit. I literally don't give a fuck. I'm there. I care, but at the same time, I don't care. I have my limits now. I've matured and evolved into a certain person that I didn't think would ever exist in me. You know, life teaches you, life matures you. So you are your own support. You are your own caretaker. You are responsible for yourself. Nobody is responsible for you. You take responsibility for yourself. Take responsibility for your actions. Account yourself. Stop this behavior of expecting, hoping in other people. You hope in yourself. If you need any other support, moral, emotional, turn to a religion, a belief, get a pet, something that is not going to easily disappoint you. For every other thing, simply coexist with them. Because then again, life is fucked up. Your expectations are what kills you, are what breaks you, are what weakens you. Expect nothing, you know? I think I'm done today. Tomorrow I'll be uploading a video on construction at about 11, maybe midday. I have reports in the morning. Let's make it midday. And if I'm happy, I'll go live later. So, thank you for watching me and see ya. Bum, 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 bum.